Next on Belmont Park Live, 2-year-old fillies are featured in the Joseph A. Gimma, where Elegant Zip looks to follow up her maiden victory at Saratoga in her Belmont Park debut. She'll likely have to run down Party Like Grandma, whose explosive speed has seen her lead nearly every step of the way in back-to-back victories. And we'll have the latest on Triple Crown winner Justify, who arrived earlier this week at his new home at Coolmore America's Ashford Stud, as he begins his brand new career as a stallion. All that and much more coming up on this Wednesday edition of Belmont Park Live. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Great to have you with us as we begin a new week of racing, from one Triple Crown winner to perhaps when are we getting that Justify statue on the grounds? Who knows? Could be in the works. We will see. We'll have the latest on Justify. You're going to be able to visit him very soon on the farm as soon as he gets settled in there at Ashford Stud. Early October, I think they'll start taking fans. Of course, we'll take a look at his arrival coming up. Greg Wolf, former New York Met, LA Dodger, Paul LaDuca, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Our feature today, 2-year-old fillies, an Elegant Zip for trainer David Donk. Looked pretty good winning last time out at Saratoga.
Yeah, she was a filly that ran a really good second place finish in her first start, and then they bet her down to 85 cents on the dollar, Andy. And I thought she was really good. Comment line, I thought, was hit right on the head. She was very game.
She is. She beat a very, very talented horse in toss-up for trainer Rick Violet, who'd had some trouble in her debut. This is a solid effort. She's very much the horse to beat in this race. I mean, she's got some talented competition in here, but she is the one to beat. Both of her races have been good.
2-year-old fillies, start to start, they can improve by leaps and bounds. We'll see who takes that big forward move here this afternoon, though. Although she did look very sharp in that victory at Saratoga. This will be start number 3, trained by David Donk. Jeremiah Engelhardt, he's got 3 fillies in the race. We'll talk more about that entire field, our feature race coming up in just a little bit. You could bet all the races that we show you all show long, each and every day, by getting signed up and started and playing with Naira Bets. Use the promo code Belmont Live and take advantage of a $200 new member bonus. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime on your mobile device. Races that we have coming up this afternoon, we're already underway in a pick 6. We had a carryover, massive carryover, $2.8 million total in the pool, including that carryover. So we'll get you caught up on what's happening there. Races we're going to show you, the late pick 4. Race 6 will kick it off. All the races off the turf this afternoon. Race 6 and 7 were scheduled for the turf. Race 8, our feature for those 2-year-old fillies, going 7 furlongs in the Joseph A. Gimma. We close things out. New York Bred's maiden claiming event, sprinting 6.5 furlongs. Weather and track conditions presented by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray at Belmont Park. Piranha on, pests gone. Main track fast, as mentioned, off the turf today. And as we already saw earlier, Andy, you were talking about it before we came on the air, that could present great opportunities to make some money.
It definitely can. I mean, we saw it in today's 4th race, start of the pick 6. The horses that should have been the first and second choices ran 1-2, and somehow one of them paid $12. You got to keep your eyes peeled. Don't know that they're in a situation of great value in this race, but you have to be paying attention to horses that are overbet that simply have good turf form and not good dirt form.
Well, this race was scheduled turf. It's now main track, entry-level allowance. And right there, a look at Thunder's Honor. There is a main track only entrant. That is the 6, Killybegs Captain. We're going to check in right now with Maggie Wolfendale. It's time for a Paddock Report. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
Thanks, Greg. And what you're dealing with here is an MTO entrant in Killybegs Captain versus some other horses who are intended to run on the turf, but one of them has some pretty good dirt races as well, and that is number 5, Thunder's Honor in here. And you couldn't ask a horse to look much better than what he does overall. Great energy in here, you know, not expending too much, but is forward and very alert looking and just looks really healthy as well. And he's not a horse that physically is up against it when it comes to surfaces. He's smaller, he's handier. The thing that concerns me, though, with him is that he runs 2 good races on the main track, and then they switch to the turf. And prior to that switch to the turf down at Gulfstream Park, this is a horse that I had noted when he came back off of the layoff on November 25th, was wearing a Sherwin, which is that rubber thing that comes down the middle of their head and attaches to the bit, keeping the bit up in their mouth, as well as a nasal strip. So sometimes those kind of equipment changes indicate a horse that might have a little bit of a breathing issue. And 2, horses that get the kickback sometimes from the dirt, that will often cause them to choke up a little bit. So therefore, the turf is a much easier surface for them to deal with. So we'll see what he does here. But physically, overall, I like him a lot in this situation. Moving on, though, to number 3, that is Bourbon Currency. He began his career on the main track. He did not run quite as fast, though those were, 2-year-old races, and maybe you could forgive him. But the truth is that Bourbon Currency has about as much of a turf hoof as you could ask for. Very flat, very angular pasterns. Another one that looks great, and he looks as though he's training well into this race here, but I'm not sold on the surface change for him, though we'll see, can he improve upon that 2-year-old form? And sometimes I am willing to forgive them here, Greg, when they are getting back to a surface that they tried early on in their careers.
That was a look at Rajiv Mirage talking over strategy with John Kimmel. He'll be aboard this one here. Bourbon Currency, 5 of his 7 career starts have come on turf, including the last 5. The 2 dirt efforts, Andy, don't get you all that excited.
No, they don't. He's clearly a horse that improved dramatically on the turf. Now, to be fair, first time he ran against Sporting Chance. From his next start, won the Hopeful, the Grade 1 Hopeful at Saratoga, and obviously he's a talented runner. So his races weren't so bad in his first starts to say it'd be shocking if he handled the dirt today. He's obviously been much better in the turf.
You always got to pay attention to these. Main track only in a race taken off the turf. And this is the main track only entrant. Killybegs captain Jose Ortiz will be aboard.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. I think some people might have the misimpression that he's a much better horse on the wet track than he is in the dry track. And I don't think his PPs really back that up. I think he handles the wet track very well, but he's run just as fast in speed figures on dry tracks as he has on wet tracks. He's just a major player. We have seen the track today, the main track, play very similar to what we saw last weekend when horses on the rail had a real advantage. And he's likely going to have to stalk the speed of the 1 Morning Breeze and the 5 Thunders Honor. So he'll have to make that outside move. Not impossible to do, but it's not an advantage.
Yeah, of those 2, I mean, so that's going to be interesting to see the 1 and the 5 go at it in here. The Thunder's Honor has shown blazing speed on the turf the last couple of starts, but he's shown dirt speed as well. Who do you think might be quicker of those 2?
I think that's a very good question. It'll depend a little bit on how they ride him, to be honest with you. I think Manny Franco would be making a mistake if he wasn't aggressive to try to hold his position on the rail with Morning Breeze. But as you said, Thunder Honor could be faster early. And if Thunder's Honor is able to get to the lead and clear here, I think it's going to be all they rode.
There he is with Mr. 2000 aboard. Irad Ortiz Jr. just collected that historic victory last week, and he's only been riding since 2011.
It's really incredible how quickly he got there. I mean, you're talking about somebody who clearly has been averaging about 300 wins a year, and almost all of his riding has been done on the New York circuit. Now, he was here in the winters too, but it's not as though the winter colony's not good as well. Irad's a remarkable rider on the beginnings and the early stages of an incredible career.
Now, this horse right here, Wicked Macho, off the claim, Gary Siaka, he actually put up a monster effort at Belmont, but it was going a mile and a 16th, and it was on a sloppy track.
He does seem like a horse that might step up a little bit on a wet track. He's one of those rare horses that gets better on a wet track. I don't think he's impossible, though. If there's a fly in the ointment in the pick 6 in this race, it would be Wicked Macho.
Post parade coming up. We're going to start off with one of the speedsters here in Morning Breeze as the inside post. He's coming in from Finger Lakes. He's a recent gelding, or new gelding, I should say, for Carlos Martin. Manny Franco will be aboard, and there he is at 5-2.
His last race was a shocking disappointment at 30 cents to the dollar. His prior race, the Mike Lee, was very, very good. The competition's tough here. His rail position may help him, though.
Bourbon Currency, the 2 a scratch. Here's Rajiv Mirage's mount, son of Speightstown, who's getting back to the dirt for the first time since September of last year.
He's second off a 6-month layoff, and as we said, it was the beginning of his career when he tried the dirt. He'd have to improve in his dirt race, and he's a better turf horse, but he's not impossible.
the other pace of the race. Thunder's Honor with Irad Ortiz Jr. for George Weaver.
It's yet to be proven that he's necessarily even better on the turf. This horse might be better on the dirt, and the switch may help his chances.
Our favorite at 8-5, the main track only entrant here is Killybegs Captain with Jose Ortiz for John Terranova.
If there's a fast speed duel, he's the one most likely to be able to benefit from it, and he does have the fastest races.
And 9-1, Wicked Macho, who we talked about, had that impressive win on a sloppy racetrack back in May here.
He doesn't have any dry track races that are good enough to win, but he does have races overall that give him a chance here at a price.
So we're approaching the 6-minute mark to post here for the starts of our late pick 4. Standing by with Killybeg Captain's trainer. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Oh, okay.
Here with John Terranova as he will be sending out post-time favorite and Killybeg's captain. John, just some clever entering by you getting him in the MTO.
He likes an off track, and we've just been trying to get a spot for him. Tried it a couple of times at Saratoga, but it didn't work out. Even though we had all that rain, it just the timing wasn't right. But today, fortunately, we'll see. Hopefully, it works out well.
Now, a lot of people have speculated that he's much better on a track with moisture in it, though two-back he ran very well on a fast track. I mean, can you kind of make an excuse for his race last time? And two, how do you think he'll run over this fast strip at Belmont?
Yeah, he did. He trains and runs really well over fast ground. The mud definitely does move him up. He's relished the mud at different times, but his last race, Saratoga, he has not run good as a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, or a 4-year-old at Saratoga each of the times we tried him. So doesn't train as good up there. He just likes Belmont Aqueduct. So we'll keep him down here next year if everything's still good, God willing.
Awesome. Well, you also just got back from the Keeneland sales, as with many trainers. Did you pick up any superstars that you really were fond of?
Hey, I hope so. We got about 9 already so far, and looking at a couple more today. But yeah, the owners have stepping up, and we bought some nice ones, and hope to get lucky.
All right, looking forward to seeing them next year, hopefully. John, best of luck here with Killybeg's captain.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right, guys, we will see how this Gray Roan does here in today's 6th race.
Well, we're taking a look at him right now, and he's warming up all by himself, an aggressive warm-up here. We hear Maggie Wolfendale talk about this all the time. Sometimes that means these runners are going to be aggressive early, and this is not a slow horse.
No, but he's not nearly as quick early as both the 1 and 5 in this race, so I don't see how he would outrun those horses. We'll see where he's placed early. He figures probably be stalking in 3rd.
Paul LaDuca put together a late pick 4. Paul, what'd you come up with?
Yeah, having a little malfunctions. I apologize for that. Yeah, 1, 3, 5, 6 here. Potomac in race number 7 is going to be a heavy favorite. Race number 8, 1, 2, 4, 5. Although in that race, if you got a little bit more budget, maybe take a shot in all that race. And then I'm going to go 4, 5, 6, 7. I think the 6 could be a long shot play, maybe in the last. Ramblin' Man for Chad Summers.
47-1. Saratoga last time out hit the board, and we'll see. I was dropping in for a tag for the first time last out. We will be back. Our pick 4 coming up, almost $200,000 in the pool when we return. Look who's back. Mana Moy Girl, the cotillion up for her this weekend. We'll preview it when we return.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and horse of the year Up with the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Now the excitement is building as his first foals have arrived this year. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Off the turn with a length and a half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on Belmont Park Live, Greg Wolf, Paula Duca, Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale with you as we get set for the start of the late pick 4 coming up, and that is a look at Morning Breeze. Speed inside, the new gelding for Carlos Martin. Let's take a look at him in action 2 starts back, and this was the last time he was at Belmont. It came in the Mike Lee. He was in a stalking position, and he'd just get beat for the win by Analyze the Odds.
He stayed in the best part of the racetrack because this is the day you did not want to be anywhere near the inside. He actually drifted down. Javier Castellano did a good job getting off the inside after that. But this was a race where the pace really fell apart, and he made that early move into it, and he kind of fell victim to his early move. This was a very good effort by him and his career best.
It really was, because they were well clear, and it's no shame to be run down by a Chad Brown horse, of course. So I thought it was a good race. He's been gelded since that race, and he hasn't been seen since June 25th, and Carlos Martin is not bad off this move. Now, does he go straight to the front end? What does he have to do early here? Is he going to have to run from the bell?
Looks like his best performances have been when he's not been on the lead.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting quandary here, because with that post, you kind of want to go, don't you?
You have to go from the inside, and the way the rail has been in the last 4 days of racing, you want to stay on the rail. Even the last race, that upset, that long shot upsetter came right up the rail.
With more on Morning Breeze, let's go to Maggie.
And this is a horse coming in off a bit of a layoff. New gelding, and the gelding has certainly taken hold on Morning Breeze. He is a bit lighter. He was much more calm, far less sharp in the paddock when they were saddling him. And 2, he is a horse that has had the propensity to hang a bit. Sometimes gelding, they will run through a bit more and be more willing to pass horses, Greg.
All right, we'll see what happens today. He's been off since late June when he went to Finger Lakes. First start back at Belmont since that Mike Lee that we showed you. Second choice on the board. And 2-1, well, third choice, I should say. 9-5 favorite is the 5. Thunder's Honor. Killybegs captain the main track, only that number as well. Here's Larry Colmus to kick off the pick 4.
They're off. Thunder's Honor out the best. Killybegs captain. Morning Breeze on the inside. Wicked Macho is close up too. And Bourbon Currency is last of them all. Up the backstretch they go. It is Thunder's Honor joined by Morning Breeze from the rail. And now these 2 match strides, and Killybegs captain is right with him. Third on the outside. And Wicked Macho is 4 deep running in 4th. Moving into the turn, racing a length and a half off the lead. The trailer Bourbon Currency is 5 lengths behind through a 22.34 quarter. They make their way around the turn. Thunder's Honor keeps the lead. Killybegs captain draws up alongside. Morning Breeze did not go through there and sits back now, a length and a half off the lead while on the rail. Wicked Macho is wide in 4th, and the trailer is Bourbon Currency. And they're coming to the top of the stretch. Thunder's Honor is going to turn for home in front of Killybegs captain as Morning Breeze switches to the outside of them for the stretch drive. Killybegs captain up to grab the lead as they come to the 8th pole, but Morning Breeze is bearing down on the outside, and these 2 will decide it. Killybegs captain trying to hold off Morning Breeze. Killybegs captain, Morning Breeze still coming. These 2 down to the line, and Killybegs captain holds on. Morning Breeze was 2nd. Bourbon Currency came on late for 3rd. Then a photo between Wicked Macho and Thunder's Honor.
Jose Ortiz aggressive early with his horse. Looked like Killybegs captain could have swallowed the one. He's about twice the size of the one Morning Breeze. He gets the win.
Well, Manuel Franco decided, I'm going to take back. You made a great point, Wolfie. He might be a better horse off the pace. So they took him off. And it looks like right here he's going to go by. And then Maggie, what she said, he has a tendency to hang, and that's exactly what happened.
The 6 drifted a little bit, too, in his way. I'm not saying that there's going to be an inquiry or a foul, but the 6 comes out around there and kind of intimidates the 1 a little bit. And at that point, I think it helped the 6 Killybegs captain hold off Morning Breeze. But you know what? He hung again.
5 disappointing. I mean, I know they went fast. I mean, not crazy fast, but he folded
This
really
track
bad.
was super fast ball. I thought that was a terrible performance by Thunder's Honor. He's a horse that needs to get back to turf to have any chance at all, because that was a bad performance.
108 for final time, and it's the main track only entrant. It gets the job done here, picks up the 3rd win of his career. Son of Miz and Mast for John Terranova, Cura Stables. And that's 2 today for Jose Ortiz. 6-1 photo for show. We'll have that for you when we come back from a short timeout. Killybegs captain, your winner to kick off the late pick 4 sequence. We're going to take a break in the action. He is on the grounds at his new home in Versailles, Kentucky. We'll check in with Triple Crown winner Justify when we come back.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires. 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live, our late pick 4 underway. The main track only entrant, Killybegs Captain, with the victory for trainer John Terranova. Jose Ortiz collects his second win of the afternoon, wins for the Curra Stables.
Yeah, congratulations to this son of Mizamas out of the Holy Bull Mare, Al Maha. And you're right, Curra Stables. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. Now 2 for 3 here at Belmont and 3 for 14 lifetime.
Pick 3, $262. Little peek inside what this pick 6 might be looking at with a $326,000 carryover. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And joined by trainer and owner of Killybegs Captain, as we'll start with his trainer, John Terranova. Spoke to you about 5 minutes ago, it feels like, but he gets it done here today. Now, he's a horse that he kind of likes to target, and he was pretty game in holding off Morning Breeze, too.
He was, yeah. Jose laid a good ride on him, and he jumped out of there perfect. But they were running along fast. These are fast colts. But, yeah, he likes a little bit of a target to run at, and, you know, he's able to hold them off. So it's a good run. Good effort.
Yeah, it was. Nice to pick up the win,
Very
Michael.
nice to pick up the win.
And a horse that's been knocking on the door for you guys.
Very well, he's gone through the door a couple times, so he feels a little better here. I think this is kind of home turf for him, and you know, we got him through the summer up in Saratoga. Didn't seem to take to that, but he likes Belmont, and he looks like he's back, so we're excited.
You have a couple nice horses in your stable. Had some nice winners up at Saratoga. Who are we looking forward to during the fall here at Belmont?
Oh, we've got a few fillies knocking on the door coming up, so
all right, well,
hope to see you here soon again.
Exactly. I hope he's talking to you again here in the winter. So congratulations, guys.
Thanks very much, Maggie.
All right, guys. Killybegs Captain for the Curra stable.
All right, so the main track only runner gets the win here in the first leg of the late pick 4. Third leg, of course, of a pick 6 carryover. We had $326,000 to carry over this afternoon, and somehow that number ballooned to over $2.8 million. And already we're on our way to having a massive number paid out. Unbridled Adventure, $12 at 5-1. There's Strive for a Cure, 10-1. That first-time starter in leg 2. Now Killybegs Captain, and we still have some wide open races to come.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. A lot's going to hinge this race. The 13, who's a preposterous 1-5 right now. That's a horse a lot of people leaned on. I imagine a lot of people that somehow got the second winner in their tickets may need the 13 to get through this race.
You're a main track only lover. You got $12 horse in the first leg of main track only, and then this horse as well, sandwiched with a nice first-time starter if you were able to get that horse from. The horse is going to play a little bit bigger than maybe $20.
2 main track onlys in this race, the 13, but also the 9, Ride on Faith, his main challenger coming up in this 7th race. We had history made here back in early June when Justify became the 13th Triple Crown winner in horse racing history. 111 days, perfect 6 for 6 on his resume, and on into the history books. Justify completing the sweep for Bob Baffert, and now not since the early 1980s when Spendthrift Farm had Seattle Slew and Affirmed residing together in the same farm, have 2 Triple Crown winners been together until now. Ashford Stud becomes the 4th farm to stand 2 Triple Crown winners, joining Claiborne, Calumet, and Spendthrift, as Justify will join his old friend, or new friend, I guess, but from the same trainer, Bob Baffert, American Pharoah, at Coolmore America's Ashford Stud. He arrived earlier this week. As we begin What's Trending, he arrived on Monday, and Bob Baffert was on hand to greet him, as were John and Tanya Gunther, the Glenwood Farm father-daughter team who bred Scat Daddy to stage music, who were on hand to see him make his arrival as well. He's going to get used to his new surroundings, and then fans of the Triple Crown winner can come see him in his 2nd career. That will begin sometime in October. Of course, American Pharoah will join him a little bit later on in the year, as he is currently down under in Australia. Here's Bob Baffert on Justify's versatile pedigree.
He was, you know, he's bred for turf, basically, a little bit. And so he has it on both sides. So I think dirt, turf, I think he's going to be with Scat Daddy. And but I think it's just that those elite horses like him, they're like, you know, like most horses, they'll give you a good 1/4 mile finish. You know, he can give you about 5/8 of a run. But if you look at him physically, the muscle on him, the power, you know, all over, he's just like this muscle-bound horse that usually muscle-bound horse like that, they don't run very far. And he carries it. He carried it. He's not only has the physical, but he has the endurance to, you know, to go 1.5 miles. And so he's a pretty freaky kind of horse, you know, but he has the pedigree to back it up.
Well, Ashford Stud manager Dermot Ryan, he said he is just breathtaking to look at, an outstanding individual and fantastic mover. He has got everything you look for in a stallion. Great to see him get started on his new career. It's going to be a busy time, you would think, at Ashford Stud with 2 Triple Crown winners on hand.
The obvious hope with Justify is with Scat Daddy having passed away. And Scat Daddy, you could argue, was the most, I mean, he and Warfront were probably the 2 sires that were the most sought after when he unfortunately died too young. And the hope with Justify is, and it's always going to be a hope, but he was such a terrific racehorse that he can be the kind of stallion or even come close to a horse like Scat Daddy. And that's the hope. People were going to go to Scat Daddy, they'll go to Justify now.
I think the thing about Justify and both of them, their pedigrees are both versatile. American Pharoah has Lord at War at the bottom side, and then Scat Daddy on the top side of Justify. I think you're going to be surprised that both of these sires, their sons and daughters, are going to like the turf course.
Scat Daddy, of course, was productive, both turf and dirt. We'll see if that carries over with Justify. Going to be very exciting to see as his stallion career gets going. Obviously excited to see the return of the big filly as well in the 3-year-old filly division. Monomoy Girl making her return. You're going to see it live on our show. Coming up this weekend on Saturday is the Cotillion, the Grade 1 mile and 16th event. Next for Monomoy Girl, Brad Cox, Michael Dubb, Monomoy Stables, and the Elkstone Group, and Florent Giroux will be back in the saddle, and reportedly on Sunday worked tremendous.
Well, you know you're good when you're 3 to 5, and Wonder Cadet separation of powers is 10 to 1, which probably I think is going to end up being your second. I think he's going to get bet down.
I think separation of powers is going to be second choice in here
with
personally.
you 100%. Midnight Bistu, I think, is going to go up. Chocolate Martini, we're rooting for our colleague, obviously, Tom Amos. But Monomoy Girl, neck loss from Road to Victory from being perfect, and wow, she's been good.
She is terrific. This is a real test, though. This is a very, very good field. Can Wonder Godot bounce back? You know, separation of powers. Can she stretch out? Was her Breeders' Cup an aberration, or is she really a one-turn sprinter? And Midnight Bisou, can she, one of these days, step forward? It's starting to get late for her to do it, but this is not an easy test for Monomoy Girl.
Well, this is the last time that we saw Monomoy Girl. This brilliant performance in the Coaching Club American Oaks. So good that Connections actually thought about trying to stretch her out to 1.25 miles in the Alabama. They eventually passed, going to the Cotillion, obviously, instead. So she's got a little bit of a freshening. And we'll see the big rematch. Wonder Godot put a line through that Travers, perhaps, facing the boys. We'll see if she can come back to as good as she was before that performance. As you take a look at the lineup at Parks on Saturday, we will have the Gallant Bop, the Cotillion, and the Pennsylvania Derby loaded card. It's going to be a fantastic day on Saturday afternoon from Parks. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back. More coming up here from Belmont Park. Party like Grandma. She is undefeated, 2 for 2. And she is quick as they come for Jeremiah Engelhardt. Our feature's still ahead.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. Now his flashy first crop yearlings are turning heads with a striking resemblance to their internationally successful sire. The sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching Belmont Park Live. Good to have you with us on MSG Plus. You can bet, deposit, and win from anywhere with the NyraBets app. It's available in the App Store and for Android at nyrabets.com. With the app, you also have access to live video, replays, and of course, to Belmont Park Live. Download the app today to bet any track, anywhere, anytime. As we get set for race 7 coming up, another race that's been taken off the turf. It is at 7 furlongs, and with the surface switch, there are 3 main track onlys in this race, the 7, the 9, and the 13. And there is the 13 who is taking all the money in this race, 1 to 5 off that impressive last out effort at Saratoga.
Well, he's not going to be 1 to 5 by the end, probably 3 or 4 to 5. And He did run a speed figure. If you look at Beyer speed figures, much faster than these horses have been running recently on dirt. And he was reclaimed by Robertino Diodoro. I guess he's the worst to beat. I don't think he's that overwhelming a favorite. I think there's a number of sort of oddball horses that might be able to step up and be competitive.
He's been at this level, you know. I mean, not at the 35 level, but when you look at this race, the 9 was in for 25. The 8 was in for 35, but that was on turf. The 11 was in for 16. So this really is, if you look at the body of this field, not that good of a 35
yeah,
nonsense.
You have to keep in mind, it's an off-the-turf race,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you can't really use the claiming price to judge their talent.
Yeah.
Can he repeat, though, the best effort of his career by far is what he produced last time out?
Against nobody last time.
Yeah.
This field is tougher than his
1
last
to 5 on the board. It's time for a Paddock report. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you, of course, by Hillendale Farm, now standing Bayern for $15,000.
And we'll check in with your current overwhelming favorite in number 13, Potomac, in here, who, well, this is the first time he's actually walked out of his stall. They've been keeping him in the stall, so I haven't got the best of looks at him. But I like what I see as I'm laying eyes on him now here in the paddock. You know, this is a horse that they had entered for tomorrow in a starter allowance, so they must think that he's okay. You know, Robertino Diodoro is in the game of winning races, and this is probably an easier spot at the end of the day. But it does speak that there is some confidence in the fact that he is or was entered for that starter allowance tomorrow. Moving on to another MTO entrant, and that's number 7, Dooley, who will be ridden by Eric Cancel, his regular rider for David Donk. And he is a horse that has kind of that string halt. You see picking up his hind leg a little bit more, only evident in the walk. But he looks great. And the fact that his one win, at least, is been on the main track here at Belmont, I think is a good sign. And I really like what I'm seeing from him here. He's kind of the only other horse that really took my fancy. Other than the 2 Diodoro horses, Dooley looks probably second best to both of them. And let's face it, Greg, Mohican is more of a turf horse.
Yeah, no doubt. Mohican, both his victories have come on the turf, the 1 horse. But there's Dooley. He was a main track only, getting the surface that he wants. He won 2 back here at Belmont at 1 1/16 for non-winners of 2 lifetime by more than 5 lengths.
It's an odd race because it's a completely aberrational race to any other race he's ever run. It is a race that gives him a chance against the favorite, but he's never run another race that's even close to as good as Dooley.
Yeah, I guess there's got to be some moisture in the racetrack for him to just love it. I don't know if that day there was that much moisture, but he is freaked on 2 wet tracks.
Meanwhile, the other main track only ride on faith. Joe Bravo rides here, just claimed by Antonio Arriaga, comes off back-to-back wins.
Yeah, you know, he's going to have to obviously improve. I thought he was kind of interesting because he's kind of horse, and Antonio Arriaga's had some success off claims. Not a tremendous amount. He's better with routers than this is 7 furlongs. I believe it's 7 furlongs, is it not? Yes. His first couple of races were fast enough to win this race. He's obviously tailed off even though he's up a couple of wins. This was right after a huge storm in Saratoga. I think this guy's a little dangerous, and I actually took a shot and picked him on top as a slight upsetter.
Yeah, I can see him running. I like his 1 race at Keeneland. You got to look at his 1 race for maybe around 2 turns. I understand now this is only a 1-turn race. He was able to handle that. His 7 furlong race at Keeneland at 40, he got dead left. He's been a better horse with blinkers, just plain and simple. And that last race, I don't think it was because of the sloppy racetrack. He won a 1-turn mile race before that, came back to win that. So he's sort of on the upswing, and he hadn't had a race since May, so he could be fitter today.
Meanwhile, look at River of Dreams right there, 15-1 long shot for Leah Giramati. Last time we saw this horse on the main track, it was taken off on a sloppy track here at Belmont back in May. Very, very distant 3rd.
But he's another horse that on a couple of occasions has run well enough, even on dry tracks, to be competitive in this race. I don't love him, but he's got some races that if he wins the race, you say, well, he's got a couple races to back it up.
Yeah, he's just tough. He's over 5. He's never hit the board, but Andy's right. Those were against tougher fields. Just 1 for 11 the last 2 years. I don't know where he's going to sit in this race. He hasn't been on a dry racetrack in over a year, so I don't know if he's going to show any speed or if he's just going to lay back and hope this race falls apart.
And Andy, that 9 horse is the one that scares me, and I'm a little concerned from that effort last time out for Potomac. It was such a big jump. We'll see if he can move forward off that or even stay close to it, but it was a big move forward.
I agree. I think that the 9 horse in this race, Ryan Faith, is a very dangerous player in here.
And I certainly like 8-1 better than 1-5.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a change. I mean, the 13 is going to come way down from that price, and I mean, way up from that price to 3, 4 to 5, and then 9 will come down and end up being about 4-1, which still might not be a bad price.
Post parade coming up. And here is Mohican. Manny Franco will ride for Robertino Diodoro, his other horse in the race.
Yeah, this is one that does not have any real dirt for him to speak of. I mean, he's never won well at all in the dirt. He's a much better turf horse.
17-1 on the son of Pioneer of the Nile. Here's River Dreams, who we were just talking about, for Leah Giramati.
Yeah, you get Dylan Davis aboard. He's ridden this horse by Pioneer of the Nile the last 2 times. 2 starts ago, not a bad second-place effort. No placings on the dirt, though.
One of the 3 main track onlys here is Dooley. Eric Consell rides for David Donk.
He's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. He's mostly Mr. Hyde, but at times he's been pretty good in some races. So if he runs his best race, he has a chance.
Baseline for John Toscano Jr. Jose Lizcano will be aboard, 11-1.
That's favorite spot on the floor for Greg Wolf's jumper. And a horse that, you know, has not run that bad. 5 starts, 2 second-place finishes on the dirt.
It's like butter. You have no idea. Another main track only, right on Faith. Joe Bravo, Antonio Arriaga off the claim.
He's my mild upsetter. He'll be the second choice in post time. Just could improve a little off the claim, and he's got some race to give him a chance.
Japonski, the 11 at 9-1. Javier Castellano rides for Derek Ryan off the claim.
He has no dirt races to give him any chance whatsoever here. He's a better turf horse.
And the 13, main track only, Potomac. Robertino Diodoro. He'd had this horse before. Goes back to his barn. David Cohen aboard.
He has improved in his last 2 starts, which make him the horse to beat. Not 1-5 horse to beat, but the one to beat and a reclaim by Robertino Diodoro.
That's your field. 7th coming up here at Belmont Park. 7 furlongs taken off the turf. That horse right there, your overwhelming favorite, the main track only, Potomac for the Diodoro barn. We'll be back.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief, laboring Vector in 5th. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
Look at the USS Intrepid, the Fighting Eye, built during World War II. Remind everybody, get signed up, started. $200 new member bonus going on now when you use that promo code Belmont Live and bet any track, anywhere, anytime, including, if you want to, the 7th race here coming up as we get a look here at Baseline for John Toscano Jr. Jose Lizcano will be aboard. He does have some pace ability.
Yes.
We're going to see him in front?
Well, we could. I mean, he could show some pace in here, but he has some dirt races to go to that are not bad at all. He has 5 races on dry dirt tracks, 2 seconds. and 2 seconds on sloppy racetracks. And you're right, Greg. He does bring a little bit of pace.
I agree. He's supposed to be in front in this race. It's a very good point, Greg. And as you said, Paul, he's got dirt races. Now, the problem is his better dirt races are on sloppy tracks, but he's got fast track races that are fast enough to give him a chance, too. He's a wise guy horse in here, and he could wire the field.
10-1, double-digit odds. As we go back to another main track only run of the 7 in here, dually. Again, it's Eric Consell on board for David Donk. We've been talking about Consell, or at least we were on Sunday, about how he has improved quite a bit as a rider. We've been calling his name a lot at this meet.
He's a hot rider, and he's good on a horse that comes from way back, as you see David Donk and this son of El Corridor. I think he's going to try to sit back and hope this race just falls apart.
Yeah, I mean, and just sort of hope it falls apart a little bit, and also Eric saves ground, which is good on this racetrack, and hope that today is one of the days he runs one of his good races. Best you can hope for.
With more on another main track only runner, let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Well, you guys have talked pretty extensively about the merits of number 9, Ride on Faith, as he'll go out first time for trainer Antonio Arriaga. And like what I see here beneath Joe Bravo, too, especially warming up on track, just moving very freely. I like the fact that he also gets back to the 7 furlongs. Arguably, some of his better races as far as speed figures are concerned came at this distance. He definitely doesn't mind it here at Belmont either. And this is a horse that could very well be going in the right direction here. I definitely don't mind what I see from Ride on Faith here, as he looks probably, from my perspective, as the next viable option to your current favorite in here, Potomac.
Yeah, I mean, we all made positives for this horse. He's won at Belmont. He comes in off back-to-back victories, including a win in the slop at Saratoga. So we'll see. You're getting a decent price as well. It's 6-1 right now. But the horse to beat obviously remains the one outside. That has been the case throughout the wagering here. The other main track only, Potomac, off that monster effort at Saratoga. This race goes through him.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the board is so skewed right now with the 2 to 5. If you knew for sure and the price is not just on him, but some others as well. I mean, he's not a bet at 2 to 5. This field he beat, there just was no form whatsoever. This is a tougher field today.
Listen, he's not the prettiest mover in the world. That's probably why he's been down. I do love that Diodoro had this horse and reclaims, and then comes back for the 16 and grabs the horse for what, actually cheaper than what he lost him for, and then bumps the horse for 35. Like Maggie said, the horse was going to be in a starter allowance, so why not pick this spot where you're 2 to 5, or in the starter allowance you were probably going to be, you know, 2 to 1, 3 to 1.
Makes you ask yourself, it's a nothing but rain basically for 2 months in New York, right? Yet we seem to have about 5 MTOs every day. How many horses have stayed in the barn and not taken shots and entered MTO that would have been short prices in races? And I give a lot of credit to the trainers like Robertino Diodoro, who took a shot and entered MTO. No harm done if the race doesn't come off the turf. And now he's in a race where he's a heavy odds-on favorite. I mean, I don't understand how more people don't look to take advantage of this situation.
I was always told as
first money's the same.
Yeah.
You know, I was always told as an owner, Doug O'Neill told me, if you're not 5 to 1 or under, I'm not doing my job.
Well, I tell you something else. You say first money's the same. I'm going to say first money's better, because Paul's this is a $35,000 claimer. This horse couldn't win a $35,000 claimer unless it was off the turf.
Exactly.
He'd have to be running probably in about a $20,000 or $16,000. So in reality, he's found a bigger purse race where he's a shorter price. Yet only a very few people seem to enter.
And you only have to face a few rivals, because it's usually a watered-down field.
Yep.
That's the case here. Right. And now he's 1 to 2 on the board. Can he get it done? Still got to win the race. Sets up nicely for him. Can he answer the call? We have not had a favorite win in the pick 6 sequence yet. Massive carryover. Again, the total pool climbed at over 2.8 million this afternoon. That is astounding. So we'll see if a heavy favorite, it's probably singled on a lot of tickets,
I would say 50%.
Can get it done for him here. Or will someone steal it? We mentioned the 9 Ride on Faith. That horse might try and steal it on the front end, the 8 baseline with Jose Lezcano. But Potomac, the 13, the one to beat here in this 7th race. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
Last couple to move into the starting gate. Japonski is moving into line and will be followed by Potomac, who is holding at 2 to 5 as he comes up to the outside stall, and they're all in line. They're off, and Potomac had a very good beginning. Japonski is onto the gate well. On the inside is Baseline with some early foot too, and Baseline's going to go up and grab the lead up the backstretch. And then it's Ride on Faith, Mohican, and River of Dreams close up. And a big gap back to Dooley, who has been outrun through this first quarter mile. Up the backstretch they go. Baseline, the leader, on top by 3/4 of a length. Heavily favored Potomac is second on the outside, and Mohican is third at the rail. 23.19 that opening quarter mile as they head for the far turn. Then comes Japonski, Ride on Faith. River of Dreams is 4.5 lengths off the lead with a half mile to go, and 4 lengths to Dooley. Around the far turn, Baseline continues to lead Potomac by a half a length, and Mohican is third on the inside. Japonski is fourth. Then it's Ride on Faith, still about 4.5 lengths behind. River of Dreams and Dooley catching up on the outside. Meanwhile, it is still Baseline holding sway through a 45.99 half. Potomac yet to get by, a length and a half behind as they turn for home. And down toward the inside, it's Mohican, and now Mohican's right alongside of Potomac. And they still have to catch Baseline. Baseline by a length and a half. Potomac is still coming, though. Mohican is between those two and with a shot, too. Dooley is finishing on the far outside. They're coming down to the line, and it's going to be Potomac. Potomac got there, but it wasn't easy. Mohican and Baseline were on the wire in a photo for the place, and Dooley was fourth.
Heavy favorite gets the win, 3-5 in the end. I know this was close, but it almost seemed like this was never in doubt.
It was never in doubt the 8 was going to win the entire way around the racetrack. Talk about not winning like a 3-5 shot should. And how about the other Robertino Diodoro might have been second, splitting him at 8-1, the horse with no dirt form at all. I cannot believe that the 8 horse, the speed Baseline, just lost.
Yeah, I'm trying
shocked.
to look at the head-on. David Cohen timed this like he was a standard-bred rider, right? He was looking to the inside of his two rivals. I'm gonna look on the head-on. He's on the complete outside. I'm wondering if it gets a little bit tight.
Looks a little bit.
And
gets pushed out a little.
Yeah, the 8 came out a little bit
yeah,
late?
a tiny bit, and maybe he was looking in. So now, let's see, these 3 are coming together. Is there any funny business here late?
Yeah, the 8's coming out.
The 8 is coming out, and it's sort of like, I don't know if there's much there, but there was inches between the winners. Maybe the 8 coming out might have caused, because that horse in the middle was game as can be.
You could say that both the inside 2 runners came out a little bit. I don't think there's anything with Potomac.
No, the 8 was coming out, and he tightened things up on the 1 in between horse from the 13. No, but nothing.
Crazy.
3-5 in the end. So let's take one more look at it here. The second set of blinkers to the outside here. That's your winner, Potomac.
Well, here's the deal. Mohican sort of creates
forces
his way out. Okay, now the 1 sort of fouls the 13.
Well,
now the 8 starts to foul the 1.
No, the 8's coming out of the 1 who's forcing the 13 out, right?
Yeah, but then the 1 come out on the 13 first.
The 1 on the 8 on the 13, right?
You could argue the 1 fouled the 13, then the 8 fouled the 1.
Well, the finish is 13-1-8. There will be no inquiry and no change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's take one more look.
Okay, say the 1 fouls the 13 right there, right? Causes space. Now watch the horse on the inside start to bump the 1. Right? Am I wrong here?
You know what? Congratulations, you just got Potomac home. Because it never looked like he was getting there.
3-5 on Potomac. So 13-1-8-7. David Cohen knew he had plenty underneath him.
Oh, yeah. He was confident the whole way. He was thinking to himself, the 8th ball, how am I going to explain this to Diodoro when I get back to the winner's circle?
The single for most on this pick 6 this afternoon. Made it tight, but gets home in the end. We're going to take a break in the action still to come. Big weekend at Parks. Firenze Fire, who was so brilliant in the Dwyer, going to the Gallant Bob. And of course, Hofberg passed on the Travers. We'll see him in the Pennsylvania Derby.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include 4-time graded stakes winner Miss Sky Warrior, 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, multiple stakes winner Bal Harbor, and Dubai Group 3 winner Shamal Nibras. Last year, his 2-year-old sold up to $540,000, while his yearlings fetched up to a whopping $575,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with NyraBets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or NyraBets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Belmont Park Live here on MSG Plus, and race number 7, it's in the books with the winner, Potomac, trained by Robertino Diodoro and piloted by this guy right here, David Cohen, teaming up with, if you will, your home stable. But David, watching him at 3 to 5, I'm sure a shorter margin than you expected, but he also seemed to get a little more engaged when Mohican came out to him.
Yeah, you know, you took the words right out of my mouth, really. You know, first, congrats to Robertino M&M Racing. Very happy always to get a win for them. But yeah, you know, the winner was, or the one on the lead was kind of getting away from him. And as soon as Mohican came up his inside and they kind of brushed shoulders a little bit, it got him back engaged and really got that fight out of him. So I was kind of happy to see that happen.
And a horse that you had ridden 2 starts ago, Robertino went back in for. Is that always encouraging for you to see as a jockey?
Yeah, definitely. You know, especially with a guy that's as sharp as Robertino. Anytime he likes a horse that he's had prior and takes him back, it's definitely encouraging from my standpoint. But anything he puts me on are runners, so whatever he legs me up on, I have full confidence.
And you can definitely tell you are riding very confidently. David, congratulations here with Potomac.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Maggie.
All right, guys, back to you.
Maggie, thank you very much. So Potomac, odds-on favorite, single for many in this Pick 6 carryover, gets the job done by a narrow margin. $3.50 for the win. M&M Racing, as you saw, those silks David Cohen was wearing for Robertino Diodoro.
Congratulations to the son of Speightstown and the Mineshaft Mare Platinum. M&M Racing, David Cohen, you just saw him, Robertino Diodoro. They do a great job in the claiming ranks here. And a lot of people in the Pick 6 just got their towel out and wiped that brow sweat off.
Close one, but when you survive one like that, maybe it's going to be your day. That's what everybody's thinking right now as we take a look at how this carryover has gone so far. Again, close to $2.85 million in the pool today. First favorite to win.
Andy, what's it usually? 4.5, 5 times, 8 times?
4.5 to 5 times. Very surprising. Maybe something you said to me earlier about there not being California's no racing today, and just more people got involved. But those people usually get involved in these carryovers. I was very surprised. I honestly think the races coming off the turf made it more manageable for some people.
Show brought to you each and every day in part by Champion Sprinter Run. Happy there he is at Claiborne Farm, standing for $25,000. Breeders' Cup Sprint winner in track record time. He never lost in his career while sprinting. And he did it all while running without the addition of Lasix medication. Standing in legendary stall number 1 at Claiborne for $25,000. We got more coming up, but of course this weekend we got all kinds of action, including the majority of this tremendous card out at Parks, and in the gallant Bob Firenze Fire looking to get back to what he did in that brilliant performance here at Belmont and the Dwyer.
See if he can do it at 6 furlongs. I mean, that's a little close. I think he did win our Saratoga Special, actually with the Sanford at 6 furlongs as a 2-year-old. So he's done it before, and he's way the horse to me.
No, he is the horse to beat. You know, Seven Trumpets, who I liked last time, sucked up a second on the rail, chasing his stablemate promises fulfilled. But
don't forget, Speed was doing great that day when he got beat at Saratoga. He still ran a very valiant effort. Glad to have you with us at Belmont Park Live. If you're just tuning in, thanks for stopping by on MSG Plus. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Beautiful Wednesday weather here as we still have our feature race to come. In fact, it is coming up next year. That is the Joseph A. Gimma Stakes. Greg Wolf, Paul LaDuca, Andy Serling. We have Maggie Wolfadell with us as well. We'll check in for a paddock report from her in just a little bit. This field of 2-year-old fillies now, most of them here stretching out, going an extra furlong here, including Elegant Zip for trainer David Donk. We saw this filly at Saratoga get up to win by 3 parts of a length, but we never know who's going to take that next step forward.
No, you don't. And she's not really getting bet right now, considering her morning line, but she ran well in her second career start. She ran well in her first start. But I thought her second career start, she was much more professional, and she had some issues at the gate. But they're going to the 2 right now with Maiden Beauty at 2-1, Andy.
Yeah, I don't get her at all, to be honest with you. I thought Elegant Zip and More Mischief were the right 2. To be honest, if I took somebody out of the Seek of the Ante, I'd take the 3. She's trouble.
Much more on this race coming up. We're approaching the 18-minute mark to post, but for those of you just joining us, I want to remind you this Saturday we have bonus coverage from Parks Racing coming up. That includes the Cotillion and the return of Monomoy Girl. Kentucky Oaks winner back in action. First time we have seen her since the Coaching Club American Oaks. Also, we'll bring you the Gallant Bob worth $300,000 and the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. And in the Gallant Bob, we were just talking about Frenzy Fire before we brought in this new audience. Kind of reset the show here. And Frenzy Fire, just a lights out performance when he ran this field off their feet in the Dwyer at Belmont back in July.
Well, he was dynamite. He really was. He circled the field like literally they were just standing still. And then he came back and he maybe obviously faced a tougher foe. Promises fulfilled, just a fast horse. But he ran his race, ran a decent third. But the cut back to 6 furlongs is a lot tougher. These horses are going to get away from him. You have War Giant for Jorge Navarro. You got a lot of fast horses in here. And he's going to have this race fall apart unless Jason Service keeps him up close.
Pennsylvania Derby on that lineup as well at 1 1/8. Grade 1. Hofburg had to pass on the Travers, so we're going to see him on Saturday instead for Bill Mott, coming off that 5-length win in the Curlin.
Be interesting to see who's favored between Hofburg and McKenzie. McKenzie coming off the layoff for Bob Baffert. But Hofburg is the kind of horse that people are just sort of betting him and liking him on the come. He's run well in his races, but he's got to take a big step forward. I mean, beating the field as he did in the Curlin, it was an easy field, and it's interesting to see he won the Curlin. Of course, the son of Curlin won this race 2 years ago in Connect. I like Hofburg. I think he's a very good horse going forward, but I don't know that he has to win this race. I'm going to tell you something. I think there's a lot of horses that can win this race.
Intriguing field, right? McKenzie, a horse that was like on maybe the Derby trail and then got injured. He's coming back.
He was Baffert's Derby horse before really anybody knew about Justify.
Yeah, and Bravazzo's trying to break Cal Ripken's streak of consecutive games played because it's unbelievable.
He missed
right?
I mean, Instilled Regard going out, first time for Chad Brown, hasn't run since he was 4th in the Derby. Core Beliefs, who rode a dead rail last time at Monmouth Park. And Mr. Freeze, a horse who ran a huge number for Dale Romans in his last start. It's a very, very fun race.
We're going to have it for you on Saturday. It's going to be a fun lineup. We hope you join us. Should be outstanding, but we're not done here. We got our feature race coming up today here. The Joseph A. Gimma, 2-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs, field of 8, and it is wide open. We'll go through the field when we come back.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. Has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
They're off. Bet the horses
over there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or NyraBets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
You're watching Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus. Good to have you with us on this Wednesday afternoon. We get set for our feature race. Coming up, the Joseph A. Gimma 7 furlongs for 2-year-old fillies. And our current favorite, Maiden Beauty, the 2, for Gary Contessa, who was 22-1 first time out. But Elegant Zip, the morning line favorite in here for David Don, coming off that win at Saratoga last time out. It says hit the gate at the start. It wasn't all that bad as I went back and looked at it.
Yeah, I don't think that had any effect on her. She ran very well in that effort. I mean, the horse who was second in her toss-ups, a very highly regarded Rick Violet, second-time star that had run in run second behind Maiden Beauty, and the slop was some trouble in her debut. I mean, they beat the rest of the field by a city block. Paul, I think this is just the horse to beat. She will be the favorite at post time. It's not close.
That's the key. I mean, and then she beat her easily. You know, she was able to stave her off, I guess, for, you know, by a full length, and she was never going to go by. And she might have, I'm with you, Wolfie. She was leaning a little bit, but she still broke a tiny bit flat-footed. But I'm surprised that that the 4 is taking, you know, really no money right now, and some others aren't, you know. I'm surprised the 1. You know, the 1 is a horse to me, 75 cents on the dollar, probably did not love the sloppy racetrack at all, was swimming that day. Last time out, she ran over a deep racetrack, and I thought she was very professional, and she might have got a lot of fitness out of it.
Well, she was wide in a day you probably wanted to be down on the inside in that track, so she was against the track a little bit. She's got to make her position with the rail today. We'll see. And she was professional last time. It's an interesting horse, and I've talked to Chad Brown about her actually quite a bit because she works in the morning like she's a graded stakes horse. And Chad was extremely confident in her abilities. Obviously, the sloppy track prevented her, but this isn't a performance that makes you think she's going to win graded stakes. Now, she might get to it, but she might be one of these horses that just works really well in the morning that isn't as good in the afternoons. They call them morning glories, but the fact that she won last time is a good sign.
Yeah.
3-1 on More Mischief. We're going to send it downstairs for a Paddock report. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000. Here's Maggie Wolfendale.
That's right, guys. You don't get paid for morning workouts, as we will check in with number 1, More Mischief. And the thing with her that I've thought all along is that maybe she will be of stakes quality or graded stakes quality with the more distance she gets to cover. And sometimes that does seem a bit counterintuitive when a horse works quickly in the morning, you would think that they are sprinters. But she, to me, looks like a filly that would relish more ground. She gets an extra half furlong here today, going the 7 furlongs. She's nice and relaxed. She's definitely taken her racing in stride. She's just a good-looking filly. I wouldn't be surprised if she is successful here, and maybe she can run to what she's shown in the mornings. Next, we'll check in with 2 of the 3 Jeremiah Englehart trainees in here. And number 5, Party Like Grandma, comes off the back of a win in the Seeking the Ante. I think she was aided a bit by the track that day. I still like her. She, for a filly that began her career at Finger Lakes, she's very classy acting. And look, she has 2 wins to her credit, which is more than any other horse can say or boast about here in the paddock. So she is interesting. But the thing that I don't like here today is that she comes back in wearing front bandages. And I actually think maybe her stablemate, or maybe her Finger Lakes stablemate, might have something to say about the outcome of this race. As a long shot, I really like what I'm seeing from number 7, Cartwheel and Lulu, who broke her maiden quite easily against the boys up at Finger Lakes. And size-wise, she looked as though she matched up well with her male counterparts that day. And boy, she matches up well, very well, with the rest here in this paddock. I mean, her and number 1, More Mischief, are by far the biggest and most imposing horses in this field. I know with pedigree, she won going 5.5 with the Bustin' Stones out of a successful appeal mare. You wouldn't think that more ground would be a viable option for her, but I will say that physically, she does look as though she might be up to the task, and she picks up our Hall of Fame rider in John Velasquez. Greg.
There's Johnny V getting ready to hop aboard, the filly who beat the boys in her debut. And there's the filly right behind him there, Cartwheel and Lulu, one of 3 in the race for Jeremiah Englehart, and they're all going to line up right next door to each other.
It's like the dirt Chad Brown, right? Turf races, he has half the field. Jeremiah's dominating with these New York bred fillies. And he's also got another, I want to say, New York bred filly that won the Adirondack, right? Wasn't the Adirondack Stakes winner up in Saratoga? I think that's a New York bred as well for Jeremiah.
Sue's Fortune.
Yeah, right?
Sue's Fortune, yeah.
He's loaded.
Had a lot of nice 2-year-old fillies this summer.
Yeah.
So 3 of them here. And the one Maggie was talking about there with John Velasquez, 8-1 on the board. And apparently, from a physical standpoint, impressive.
Yeah, and listen, when you beat the boys by that much, and we've been seeing the Finger Lakes horses, and Rudy Rodriguez joked on Saratoga Live with us that all of his Finger Lakes horses were winning at Saratoga. Englehart's horses were winning as well, and this one won nicely in one open.
She did. The horse that finished second to her came back to win. She did run 2 points worse on the buyer scale in her subsequent win.
There's the 6. Ma, Meatloaf.
Wedding Crashers.
Oh, that's why you guys were talking about Wedding Crashers. Now I get the joke. Boy, am I slow.
What is she doing back there? I never know what she's doing.
No, I mean, like, classic Will Ferrell.
14-1 on Ma Meatloaf.
She's not that slow. I mean, I'm not in love with her, but for a long shot, she's not impossible.
Get signed up, get started, play along. $200 new member bonus going on when you use the promo code Belmont Live. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. You can even bet on Ma Meatloaf. Post-parade coming up for the Joseph A. Gimma. And we're going to kick things off with a Chad Brown runner who is not favored in here. Right now, second choice on the board at 3-1. Here's More Mischief with Jose Ortiz.
She's going to have to improve to beat this field and start to live up to what she does in the mornings, but it's certainly possible. She's lightly raced.
Favorite at 5-2. She won at 22-1 first time out here at Belmont in the Lynbrook. Maiden Beauty for Gary Contessa.
Yeah, she lost to Party Like Grandma, and who she's going to line up against in here. But the public thinks maybe she's going to improve. She comes in with a bullet drill.
She's trouble for Linda Rice, 3rd in that Seeking the Ante behind Party Like Grandma and Maiden Beauty.
She was against the track and against the flow of the race last time, and I think she's an interesting price player in here.
Elegant Zip, David Donk filly with Manny Franco.
Yeah, she showed some tactical speed, and I thought she was really good last time to spurt away from toss-up.
It's got to be the quickest filly in the field, you would think. The 5, Party Like Grandma, she is 2 for 2. She's been on the lead just about every step of the way.
The other quick horse might be one of her stablemates, the 7, Cartwheel and Lulu. She got a very good scratch, though, last time when the favorite, Another Speed, scratched the gate, and that track was favoring speed.
Ma Meatloaf, Jeremiah Engelhardt as well. Joe Bravo, second in a stakes race at Finger Lakes last out.
Yeah, for Rapoli stable here, and the daughter of Stay Thirsty, who ran in Mike's colors, comes in here from Finger Lakes, but needs to improve.
And the other Jeremiah Engelhardt, the filly who beat the boys in her debut at 5.5 for a long series cartwheel in Lulu.
Listen, you just never know. This horse ran well enough, drew outside. She's not impossible. Maggie liked her in the paddock, too. That never hurts.
Still our favorite, the 2, Maiden Beauty. Gary Contessa, he is having a tremendous start to this Belmont meet. He's with Maggie Wolfendale right now.
That he is. So pleased to be joined by him here in the paddock, Greg. As Gary, are you a little surprised that you are the current favorite with Maiden Beauty?
I kind of am, because she hasn't gotten any respect to this point in her career. And, you know, it's a very equally matched group. I mean, on numbers, there are horses that run a little faster than her and a little slower, but I think her style and her mind should make her the favorite. I mean, she doesn't have to go to the lead. She can go to the lead. She's willing to sit behind dirt. So I think this is a good race. I told Joe, look, I'm usually wrong when I give instructions, so do what you want, but I think you're going to be laying third or fourth rather than fighting for the lead in this race.
And she's a filly that you must have had high hopes for, as she did break her maiden first time out in the Lynbrook. Talk about her development. Has she just always been that precocious type?
Always been precocious, always trained well. I always put her as a workmate for my better 2-year-olds who have all gone on to win also. And so she's always given me that indication. And her mind is the best thing about her. She's just so cool under fire. And that's such a rarity to find in a young horse.
Now, the name is slightly escaping me. Is it Malibu Mischief? Am I right? Malibu something. You had an impressive 2-year-old horse that you had win last week.
I did. Malibu Mischief.
Yeah, I was
and
right,
she was
okay.
yeah, and she was another filly that I've been very high on. Didn't pay a lot of money for her, and she'll come back in the Matron Stakes next. So it's kind of exciting. The babies have really made our year this year.
And speaking of which, you've had a great meet thus far, and wishing you continued success here as well.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, we'll see if Maiden Beauty can take down this Joseph A. Gimma Stakes.
Gary Contessa had a great Saratoga as well. He's been on a roll. Right now, he's got the favorite in our feature race coming up, Maiden Beauty. Trying to win for the second time in 3 outings. Our feature race is coming up.
Turn in for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome in third. Shared Belief laboring back to in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
Back on Belmont Park Live, sure you can buy stocks, but why would you when you can bet on the races? In fact, with Naira Bets.
I left downtown. I worked downtown.
See, you made the right move, Andy Sterling.
I was betting with Naira.
You're ahead of your time.
On occasion.
Our feature race coming up, Joseph A. Gimma, as we take a look at the 5 Party Like Grandma, and she is fast. We know that.
She is. I mean, this is a big test for her because she really kind of got handed the race in Saratoga. And I don't want to take it away from her and dismiss her win, but the favorite and the main Speed was scratched the gate that day, and Speed was very good, and she was able to control on the front end.
Can I bring a counterpoint? I know it's a totally different race, and it was a maiden race, nowhere near a stakes race, but she battled every step of the way in the front end in her debut, her stablemate, and then she could just completely put that horse away.
Once again, I'm not going to be shocked if she wins. I just think she's in a very different scenario. And I would also point out, this is a tougher field when she's meeting horses like More Mischief and Elegant Zip.
No doubt.
But she can win.
I'm still surprised that the 2 is holding favoritism here. That work must have been very flashy on September 14th.
Yeah. Bullet drill, minute flat, quickest to 28 that morning. And I mean, this barn's just on a roll, especially with the 2-year-olds.
They probably should have won with their horse earlier. That was a little wide. We got out finished, but you're right. Contessa's horses are firing. They're all firing big races. But Party Like Grandma did beat her on the square last time out.
Surprised by the odds in this race, I agree. Now, I think by post time we'll probably see 5-2 on Elegant Zip based on the double prices, but you don't know.
If the 6 comes flying home and has a chance to win this, I want a big, big call from Larry Colmus.
Would Party Like Grandma to Mom Meatloaf be like a
exacta of all exactas?
Yeah.
It is the Joseph A. Gimma favorite, has now become, at the last moment, that horse right there, the 4. Elegant Zip, the morning line favorite. Now the 1 to beat for David Donk. Who can handle the 7 furlongs here among these 2-year-old fillies? Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
Last few fillies to move into the starting gate here. Party Like Grandma taking her position, and her 2 stablemates will follow her, and Ma Meatloaf and Cartwheelin' Lulu. 5-2 right now on Elegant Zip as Cartwheelin' Lulu comes up to the outside stall and completes the line. A little bit hesitant here is Cartwheelin' Lulu under John Velasquez. They've opened up the front of the starting gate to get her to come forward here, and she does. And just about set here. They're all in line. They're off in the Joseph A. Gimma. Cartwheelin' Lulu on the far outside, out for the early lead with Party Like Grandma and Elegant Zip from the inside. Right behind them, Ma Meatloaf is away running in 4th. More Mischief is 5th down on the inside. And then comes Maiden Beauty, who is second last early on, just ahead of She's Trouble at the back of the pack. Up front, Cartwheelin' Lulu has made the lead here. Runs by the opening quarter mile in 23.17 seconds. Party Like Grandma second. Ma Meatloaf goes up on the outside. 3rd, Elegant Zip is 4th along the rail. She's Trouble is 5th. 2.5 lengths off the lead and will be a bit wide into that turn. More Mischief in behind, horses well held at this stage. The trailer is Maiden Beauty. Cartwheelin' Lulu heads around the far turn in front and leads the way by just a neck. Ma Meatloaf circling up on the outside, 3 wide. As they come toward the top of the stretch, Party Like Grandma's in between horses fighting on. She's Trouble is 4 wide. Elegant Zip is in behind them. More Mischief yet to be set down. Still about 2.5 lengths off the lead, and they're into the stretch. Cartwheelin' Lulu, Party Like Grandma. To the outside comes She's Trouble. And splitting horses too, Elegant Zip is coming on. And on the far outside, it's More Mischief. It's still wide open here. Cartwheelin' Lulu clings to the lead on the inside. Elegant Zip, here comes She's Trouble and More Mischief, and they're coming down to the line. And Cartwheelin' Lulu held them all off to win. Then a photo, maybe More Mischief on the outside of Elegant Zip and She's Trouble.
Cartwheelin' Lulu beat the boys first time out. Now she does it to her own sex here. She's 2 for 2.
Congratulations to Roddy Valente and John Velasquez particularly, because unlike every other rider of the race, John Velasquez said, hey, Inside Speed's been really good at Belmont over the last 4 racing days. I'll be the Inside Speed. Everybody else basically outsmarted themselves.
Yeah, you know, they took every shot at her, and nobody could go by her, but you can't let a horse go 47. That is absolutely ridiculous. When this is a filly last time went 46 against the boys and demolished the field of Finger Lakes. Yeah, he won this race early.
Franco, and you know, I'm a huge fan of Manny Franco, but I can't just compliment him when he rides well. And maybe David Donk said, don't go to the lead under any uncertain terms. He did everything he could to prevent the 4 from being the inside speed in this race, lost position, and I'm going to say cost him his best chance.
Looks like more mischief, just barely getting second there. It was tight, but Cartwheeling Lulu gets the win, does so at 7-1, the co-second biggest price on the board.
Yeah, and this filly by Bustin' Stones, she got respect first time out against the boys, but she really didn't get respect today a little bit. 7-1. Good pick by Maggie. She had this one right on top. Great ride by Johnny V. I mean, that half mile is all you need to know. 47-1.
7-1, 4-3. Cartwheel and Lulu now perfect 2 for 2 in her career. John Velasquez for Jeremiah Engelhardt and Roddy Valente, your winning connections. We'll be back with more on our feature and set up the nightcap right after this.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb was the leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including stakes winners Autumn Warrior and Orvolution, stakes performer Scrapper, and TDN Rising Star Explorer. In the sales ring, his progeny continue to sell well beyond his stud fee, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga, Classic Winner, Classic Pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus. Cartwheeling Lulu getting her picture taken here. She is now 2 for 2 after that victory, beating the boys in her debut at Finger Lakes. She takes the Joseph A. Gimma here at Belmont at 7 furlongs.
Yeah, filly by Bustin' Stones had a successful Pilmare reprieve, and like Andy was saying, congratulations to Roddy Valente, who co-bred this horse with Mr. Jerry Belinsky. Now 2 for 2 lifetime, and that pick 3. Not bad. $74 to get you to
special win for Roddy, right? Get a Bustin' Stones home in a stake. That's cool.
To downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale. That's how close it was for second, by the way. 7-1, 4-3 finish. Here's Maggie Wolfendale.
I'm joined here by Velasquez and Cartwheel and Lulu. Johnny, I think you outfoxed the other riders just a bit.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, you know, I know my other part of the entry, different owners, but it has some speed. So I wanted to see what they were going to do inside of me. When I see they didn't go, I just dropped in there and just see how she did. And she actually relaxed really well in front and made it easy for me.
Now, I know it's a first-time owner, only her second start as well, and Jeremiah not here, but looking at the pedigree, you would think that she's an out-and-out sprinting type, that 7 furlongs might be a stretch for her, but when you saw her in the paddock, did you feel any more confident? She's a big, good-looking filly.
She's a big girl, and I'll tell you what, even after the race, the gallop on was really good, so I was really surprised that not only go 7/8 and the gallop on was really good, so I mean, maybe she's outgrowing the pedigree.
I would say so, but Johnny, once again, a great ride here.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, it's all about Cartwheel and Lulu in the Joseph A. Gimma.
Yes, it is, and that's why that man is a Hall of Famer.
Well, I mean, he's being modest, and Maggie's right. He outsmarted the other riders, and, you know, he had that outside post, but he only was able to clear like that because everybody kept grabbing. And even on a fair racetrack, I don't know why you do it, but in a track that's been very kind inside runners for 4 straight days now, I would say that a lot of those riders have some explaining to do, frankly.
There's the hardware for the win. Let's take a look at the pick 6 follow along again. $326,000 carryover. Pool ballooned to $2.845 million. Only one favorite has won, although it was a big favorite. Potomac at odds on.
$43,000 is the lowest pick 6 payout, and that's with the 5 Zecca.
Yeah, they're amazing payoffs.
What is it? 43,000. Imagine if Potomac had lost that 3-horse motor.
Yeah.
Here, the other 2 horses did big prices. There would be horses that weren't covered in here, and I'll tell you what, I could never have put this sequence together, but...
Naira Betts late pick 5 wager. Take advantage of it. It happens through October 6th. Final days coming to try and take advantage of this incredible value that we see each and every day in this wager.
Yeah, it's a great bet.
The lowest you can do there is $1,300, and you have a 3 to 5 shot in there.
We've seen crazy prices in it, where the first leg of the pick 5 is like a $4 horse, and it pays 4 or 5 times what the pick 4 does. It's been a great value play throughout.
We had a treat this summer seeing the rematch of Elate and Abel Tasman. It was almost an exact same rematch sequel. What we saw that would go to the stewards making a decision, and she was to run to the Beldame again on October the 6th. Unfortunately, the multiple Grade 1 winner, Belmont, announced today, this is from Dave Brenning, the Daily Racing Form, she will miss that race due to inflammation in and around the splint bone. They're going to have to wait and see how she responds to treatment. So Breeders' Cup, we'll have to wait and see. She missed some time earlier this year with an injury to the splint bone in her left foreleg.
Our best horses race, and I think that all of us are particularly partial to Elate. And she's a wonderful racehorse, and hopefully she'll be okay and make the Breeders' Cup, but they're going to do what's best for her.
Tremendous what she did off the layoff to win the Del Cap at 1.25 miles, and then the performance, even though it was defeat, although some argued she should have won that race, what she did in that performance against Abel Tasman, both those fillies ran tremendous.
Gets my vote as the race of the year. That was a great race.
It was incredible.
Yeah, it really was.
Maiden claiming event. Hopefully we see a late come Breeders' Cup time. We'll keep our fingers crossed. 6.5 furlongs in our nightcap. New York bred maiden claiming event coming up. Even money on Zecca? No one should be even money in this race.
I don't disagree. Zecca was best last time. She's the worst to beat, but there are others. Paul, you seem to think she should be close to even money. All right.
Just based off her last race, maybe, yeah, because there's just really no pace in here, and she could be in front, and there might not be no passing zone. There could be no passing zone in this last race.
We're going to take a break. We'll have the story of Charlie Baker. We say his name a lot on this show. He always has tremendous Saratoga meetings. We'll hear about him when we come back.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus on this gorgeous Wednesday afternoon. Good to have you with us. We got our Nightcap coming up. We'll hear from Maggie Wolfendale in just a moment in this race. Charlie Baker, of course, sending out a horse in this Nightcap coming up with the 7, Party in the Sand. He may not be a household name, but for those familiar with the New York circuit, especially those who keep their eyes on the ultra-competitive Saratoga circuit, Charlie Baker, the Jamaican-born trainer, is as sharp as they come.
When I lived in Jamaica, I lived next to a track. I lived walking distance from a track, so I grew up around the track. My dad was a trainer there at the track, so I was always at the track. Well, you know what? You fall in love with it from an early age, so that makes it huge. And I was actually born seeing the activities from then, so you kind of get an advantage, just an early start into horse racing than most people that never been around that situation. I came to the U.S. in around '86. Started out grooming, out walking and all that stuff before I even started training in '97. I got my license out in '97 as a trainer. I always wanted to be a trainer. I thought the only way I was going to do it was kind of do it on my own, just start. So the first horse I bought was for $1,000. And we kind of won 3 races out here when I bought him, and that's kind of built on that. I've kind of pretty much invested whatever I made into the horses. Between here and Finger Lakes, I got about 60 plus. In New York, we got 41. So we got about 60 plus horses in training. I'm pretty hands-on, but my brother is in Finger Lakes, and he's been with me forever. I mean, so he knows the routine, he knows what I want, what I need. I think my best accomplishment as far as training is concerned is just winning a graded race in Belmont back in 2016 was.
Charlie Baker, who picks up his first graded stakes. Charlie, talk about the feeling you're having right now.
Great feeling, great feeling. I've been looking for this day for a long time.
When I started training in '97, I start with bottom level horses, the bottom of the bottom. So my goal at the time was to win a Lawrence race. That was the biggest thrill I got, really excitement to win a grade. And then we came back and won a grade 1, which was even more fun. Just a great accomplishment on my part, actually. My biggest goal in life was to be a trainer. I think I accomplished that, horse trainer. Your goal is to want to win the biggest race that's out there. You want to be at the top of the game or win the. So you're still a dreamer. That's why you're in it, really. You're still dreaming. You still want to win that Breeders' Cup. You still want to win that Kentucky Derby. So you're dreaming at all times. So yeah, there's always goals. There's always a thing to accomplish. I think there's always a goal. So I got a lot of them out there. So let's see what happens.
Well, that horse, of course, you saw on the piece, he got that first grade 1 win with. That was Joking in the Vosburg right here at Belmont. But he has done some tremendous work over the years. A horse by the name of Moonlight Song. Horse that they'd given up on, basically wound up at Charlie Baker's barn, debuted as a 5-year-old, won the first couple of starts of his career. 2 years later, he came back and won a stakes, 9-month layoff. He wins the John Morrissey, and then he's off for a year, and he wins the Morrissey again at Saratoga.
That's the mark of a great trainer. Somebody who gets a project like that and is able to get the most out of a horse that a lot of trainers probably would agree they might never got anything out of. Charlie's just a wonderful trainer.
That's the horse he is sending out in this Nightcap coming up. The 7 horse here, Party in the Sand. 7-2 on the board right now for Charlie Baker. Time for a paddock report. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
And I can definitely echo the same sentiment down here in regards to Charlie Baker. He does such an excellent job, as I will check in with a horse that's not his, and that is a horse moving from turf to dirt in her 3rd career start in number 3. That's another name for Carlos Martin. And look, she's by Bob and John, and the dam was okay going long on the dirt. And looking at her, it's not as if she has that overwhelming proverbial turf hoof. I just don't know how much ability she actually has. So she is going to have to face horses that have a little bit more proven dirt form, obviously, than what she does. I'd rather wait and see what she gives us here today. I'm not overly convinced, but one that I want to give another shot here is number 8, One Cool Kitten. Last time she caught a sloppy track. First time out, she was somewhat eliminated when Tequila Sunday kind of took out the rest of the field that day. And she's very sharp here in the paddock for Michelle Nevin. Once again, maybe she can implore some of that speed that she showed first time out because really, on the surface of things, she looks the best of any of the horses in here. So I'm going to give One Cool Kitten a shot here, Greg.
Well, 5-1. So, yeah, she is taking some money right now. It is starts number 3 for the Michelle Nevin barn with this horse.
And I'll tell you something else she is. She is the potential controlling speed in this race. And I've got to think after the last race, Manny Franco is not rating any more speed horses.
Yeah, she's going to probably have to beat the 5 Zeka to the front end in here. Who has some speed, and I would think we'll try to use it, and maybe Charlie's other filly in here.
This horse, One Cool Kitten's got to go. Now,
no,
stamina's a bit of an issue for her.
But she's been bet both starts, which makes me to believe that the morning she's been doing okay. They don't completely.
They were hungry fields.
Yeah, I understand, but 14-horse fields, and she's still getting bet.
Slop last time, you want to use an excuse. The first field was a hungry crew.
Does this race in any way, and it was a different race, it was a turf race that was going along, does this race remind you at all of the race at Saratoga where we had that 48-1 shot and win the finale?
No.
Not at all, really. It was just a field where nobody really wanted to win.
Because it's very hard looking at this race to legitimately make cases for anywhere in the 4 Tequila Sunday, the 5 Zeka, the 7 Party in the Sand, the 8 One Cool Kitten. They feel about 98% to be the winner of this race to me. So
Here's a look at the 5.
You asked.
No, I wanted your opinion. Here's the 8-5 favorite, Zeka. So this horse actually showed speed last time out. So we'll see if this horse tries to battle the 8. And actually was the best performance of her career.
She ran huge last time. She's had excuses. She had a big-time trip 2 back in the slop, legitimate trouble in a couple of instances. And she ran against Tupper in her first 3 races on the dirt. Last time out, she was aggressive inside. She broke from post 2. And I think it caused her to be more aggressive. She ran a winning race and was an unlucky loser.
Yeah, I don't know if she ever saw that horse to the outside of her. Maybe she would have been able to fight her off towards there at the end. But again, she's clear, and I don't know, look like a nose more than a head. Now, jockey changing here now. Jose Ortiz is going to be aboard. Rosario gets aboard the 7 Party in the Stand. I don't know if...
You don't know. So Rosario might have been committed to ride the other horse. You don't know why that happened.
You can't put a credence, especially into these young claimers. But one thing you can do, $25,000 claimers, there is something to the big jockey sticking around. And who are they on? Your 3 favorites, the 4, 5, and the 7. And you can even include Manny Franco, who's on the 8.
He's in the doghouse with me right now, but I still think he's a terrific rider.
There has been 0 in terms of any kind of follow-up or consistency with anybody even running their best race in this field.
True.
Listen, they're at the level they're at. I don't know how
that's what I'm saying.
Are.
I feel like maybe anything can happen in this kind of a race.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Reina Rea Dreams, the 10, is not winning this race. I'm very firm on that. I'm very strong. I'm throwing her right out.
I will
230 to 1.
What's your angle on the 9?
9's a little tough to get to.
Okay,
I think the 9 and 10 hitting the super would be an upset, much less winning the race.
You can make a case for the 6, Ramblin' Man, right? Ma'am?
Absolutely.
You can.
Absolutely, you can.
You can.
Repeat of that last race might be good enough to win here.
No.
Rajiv Mara trying to get off the
You
duck?
can't say no. You don't know what the rest of this group is going to do.
I actually have a crystal ball, and I know the 6 Ramblin' Mam ain't winning.
So you have that much confidence in the rest of these others that they're going to run the race?
Yeah. And one of them is, yeah.
Okay. Which one? I'll give you 3.
I told you I said 4, 5, 7, or 8. I didn't go out on a big limb here, Greg.
There's the 10. So look, the 10, 23 to 1 on Reina Rea Dreams. 3 back. She did run second in a 6-horse field at this level. Granted, it was at Monmouth. That's the only time she's hit the board in 17 tries.
It gave her confidence.
Race falls apart.
Whatever
she might
price
be coming
Reina
from the
Rea
clouds.
Dreams is, I'll give you 20% higher.
Didn't
Jeff,
say
at least
I wanted
1,000.
her. Did not say I wanted her. I'm just saying I don't love this race.
Well,
it's a great race to play superfecta.
Listen, I think, that a horse who maybe, I think that both Party of the Sand, we know, is running against some better horses, even though it looks in the same class. And I think that One Cool Kitten could clear, and I think that she's dangerous in here. Tequila Sunday, one day I'll run back to that maiden win where she was justifiably disqualified, and she can win this race. She just hasn't done it since then. So I'm not surprised if they do well. 6-1 on Tequila Sunday is not a bad price. One Cool Kitty is 9-2 right now. She could be the controlling speed kitten. I'm not going to knock them as plays.
Get a closer look at them here coming up at the post parade. See if that can help us in any way here. Get signed up, get started, play along, get down in this finale here on this Wednesday afternoon. $200 new member bonus. Use that promo code Belmont Live to bet any track, anywhere, anytime. And play along with us all through the fall and beyond.
It's going to be some great. You know what's going to happen? The weather's going to clear up. We're going to stop getting rained off the turf, and there's going to be like 5 weeks of sensational racing at Belmont. Think of all those turf horses that haven't got a chance to run at Saratoga, haven't been able to run here. Belmont Park Fall Meeting can be great. And then, Aqueduct, the most underrated meet of the entire year is November at Aqueduct. We've seen so many top-class 2-year-olds make their debuts and break their maidens. I think there's 8 horses that broke their maidens on Cigar Mile Day that went on to win Grade 1 races. How's that?
Wow.
Including Quality Road, by the way.
Here's our post parade. So we start with That's Another Name for Carlos Martin. Eric Consell rides 9-1.
Tries the dirt for the first time.
Tequila Sunday. Cross the wire by 8 lengths, declared a non-starter, and has never found that race back.
Wouldn't recommend it on Sunday, but over 15 lifetime, and one of the ones in here.
Zeka. 8-5 favorite right now, just missed by a head last start.
She is the horse to beat, not just in her last race. Overall, her dirt races are better consistently than the others in this race.
Ramblin' Ma'am is at 8-1. Rajiv Mirage for Chad Summers. Hit the board at Saratoga last start.
Yeah, by the same sire, Mind Your Biscuits, Posse here, and maybe this could be the key. Improved a lot last time out. We're in a good third.
The only similarities they share.
Called grasping at straws, Paul.
Party in the Sand, 7-2. Toel Rosario for Charlie Baker.
Doesn't have the same sire as Mind Your Biscuits. I think she's actually facing an easier field than she faced in her last 2.
Our feature finale angle. Showed the feature on Charlie Baker as the horse in the finale.
Always works.
One Cool Kit in the 8s at 4-1 with for Michelle Nevin.
Showed speed first time out, like Andy was saying, and trying to get, I would think, going to try to get to the front end and wire these.
Galway Girl, this is career start number 18, has only hit the board once.
1 ticket alive to her for $1.7 million in the pick 6.
It's amazing.
It's amazing that one's alive.
Rayana Raya Dreams for Randy Prasad, also 17 starts, also has hit the board once.
Yeah, I find her way tougher to get to than the 9. Because here's the thing about the 9. The 9's got so many turf starts. Her dirt starts when she was so young. She was 2016. She might, you never know. We had a different trainer. The 10, that horse is really tough to get to.
It's a puzzler here in the last one coming up. We'll have it for you live when we come back. The finale from Belmont. Who's going to take home this pick 6 carryover? We'll find out right after this.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Back on Belmont Park Live. And our finale coming up here. Just 2 minutes to post here. And race that's going to close things out on our Wednesday card. Take a look at our weekend action coming up at Belmont. In the Kelso. Battle of Midway, Timeline, Realm, Pattern Recognition, Sunny Ridge. Line up for $300,000.
Well, I mean, the big question is whether Battle of Midway, who was retired as stud, he failed at stud, they brought him back to racing. He was a very mediocre distant second, the 4-horse field, his return behind a very talented runner in Catalina Cruiser, but whether or not he can ship across and get his act together. And history says these kind of horses are good bet against, especially at short prices.
Catalina Cruz, that was a field that got decimated by scratches. The Pat O'Brien that day, he was lone speed and cruised. Obviously, he's turned into a freak show for John Sadler. But we'll see how he can do with a better chance in here.
Yeah, I would think Sunny Ridge cutting back to a one-turn mile two is going to be.
But he's probably running at Parks.
Yeah,
at
that's
least
true.
Jason
He's
Service said
yeah.
he was going to run at Parks. I think Pattern Recognition and No Dozing are the two in there.
Yeah,
coming up.
It's going to be tough, yeah.
This weekend, right now we're a minute to post in our nightcap. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And I'll take a look at your current 9-5 favorite in here in Zeka for Bruce Levine. You know, she's a filly that can win, I understand. But once again, she is a bit hot, a bit nervous, a bit washy out here. And it's not out of character, but it is a character flaw in that, you know, you want a horse to be more confident in that, and that's ultimately why maybe she is still a maiden in now 8 tries. We'll see. You know, fields can be just so bad, and she could be better that it could surprise her, and she could make her way to the winner's circle after just being denied by a short head last time. But I'd rather shop around and take a bigger price on someone else here, Greg.
Don't leave us hanging.
She picked the 8, Greg.
Oh, okay.
It was right there on the screen.
9-2.
One of us was paying attention.
So you brought up Tequila Sunday. You brought up that 8th length crossing the wire first, declared a non-starter, the 4-horse we talked about, who's 4-1 right now, has not come close to that performance since.
My friend David, go ahead.
Well, no, I just thought the horse made a nice appearance on the track.
My friend David Argona picks this horse every week. I'm going to tell him if she loses today, he's no longer allowed to bet.
Not a better, yeah.
It's enough. I've had enough.
Friends
the guy's got a great
don't
opinion, but he's got to divorce Tequila Sunday.
I tell you, I like 6-1 better than 7-2.
Friends don't let friends bet Tequila Sunday.
Well, she's taking all the late money. 4 and in.
Yeah, the 6 is starting to cool down in the wagering. You know, the 7 Party in the Sand starting to take the late money too.
All right, what do we do? 9-5, all the late money here on Zeka.
Only 28-1 on.
You're rooting for the 9 for somebody.
Galway Girl. Imagine paying this horse and only getting $60.
I want to see someone take home 1.7 million. Is that what it is?
1.7 million
Really?
if the 9 somehow.
I want to see pick 6 carryovers pay $2,500 and every little player get a chance to collect.
Last in line. Rayana Rhea Dreams. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
And here is Rayana Rhea Dreams stepping forward to the outside stall, and they're all in line. They're off. Zeka had the best beginning. One Cool Kitten away running in second on the outside. Then comes That's Not Her Name, Tequila Sunday, and outside of them, Galway Girl is 5th early on. Ramblin' Ma'am, Rayana Rhea Dreams next, and the trailer is Party in the Sand as they head up the backstretch with Zeka the leader and One Cool Kitten pressing the pace on the outside. Tequila Sunday is outside of those two as they go through a 22.92 first quarter mile. A length farther back to Galway Girl, who's 4th on the outside. In between horses, Ramblin' Ma'am. That's Not Her Name is down toward the rail. Party in the Sand is starting to pick up her stride, still about 6 lengths off the lead. And Rayana Rhea Dreams. Around the far turn, Zeka, a narrow advantage here over One Cool Kitten. Tequila Sunday is just outside of them, the 3 of them racing across the track. 2.5 lengths to Ramblin' Ma'am. Party in the Sand continues to gain, but very wide as they turn for home, 46.27.5. It is Zeka and Tequila Sunday, locked in battle coming to the 8th pole. Tequila Sunday on the outside of Zeka. They're stride for stride in the center of the track. Party in the Sand bearing down on them, but running out of time. It is Zeka on the inside, Tequila Sunday, and here comes Party in the Sand. The 3 of them come down to the wire, and here's Party in the Sand, running them down to win it. Over Zeka and Tequila Sunday, and Ramblin' Ma'am was 4th.
Once we ran the feature on Charlie Baker, this had to be my selection, Party in the Sand.
I could see everyone saying Joel Rosario knew. He got off Zeka. With all due respect to Party in the Sand, and Joel gave her a perfect ride. I think she took advantage of a little bit of hitting in this race. A race that featured a faster pace than our feature, Paul.
Yeah, it actually did. They went a second faster to the half mile. And the 4 Tequila Sunday, wow, could not go by Zeka. Zeka won the battle, but she lost the war because I don't think she ever saw Party in the Sand.
Goes wide to do it, too.
Well, I think she got a little bit of a pace in front of her. 6.5. Poor Zeka.
7.54 finish, Party in the Sand. Charlie Baker, Saul Kupferberg, Joel Rosario, your winning connections. We'll be back to wrap this race up when we return on Belmont Park Live. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this. Back on Belmont Park Live, Party in the Sand for Charlie Baker under Joel Rosario. Wins at 3-1 in the finale.
Yeah, congratulations to this daughter of Desert Party. A Wildcat Shoes mare, Shoeless Angel, hence Party in the Sand.
Homebred.
Yeah, homebred, you're right. And if you had this pick 5, 67, oh no, excuse me, pick 6. $67,000 and 700 and change, so a good score.
Saul's a good man, too. He and his dad have been involved in the game, having horses, breeding horses, owning horses for a long time. John Paracella trained for them. Charlie Baker has horses now, and a good guy. Anyone that rides the subway to and from Aqueduct sometimes is okay by me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Saul sometimes.
A-okay in anybody's book here. So in the books, huge carryover, almost 2.9 million in this pick 6, and get to share the wealth a little bit. Quite a few people hit it, so that's a good thing, too.
No, it is a good thing. Listen, the pick 4 comes back about 170. Your pick 5 comes back about 1,800, and then you get a pick 6 that rings up at about 67,000. And there's the pick 4, 180. Still pretty good payoff, you know, considering. And then when you get to the pick 5 results and the pick 6,
10 times.
You know, you got to understand, Potomac was in this sequence at 3 to 5, which I would think like 60 to 70% singled, Andy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. I mean, listen, there were 1.5 tough horses in this sequence.
By the way, did you see the 5 out of 6? 477, so check your account. That's a lot for 5 out of 6, 477.
There's the follow-along. Unbridled Adventure kicked it off. Strive for a Cure started off the Naira Bets late pick 5, which came back 1,800. Pick 4, 180. Oof, good value. We will see you tomorrow on MSG Plus. Hope you enjoyed our Wednesday afternoon action. It was Cartwheel and Lulu in our feature, the Joseph Gimma for Jeremiah Engelhardt. She beat the boys in her debut, and then she takes it to the fillies, stretching out to 7 furlongs. She is now undefeated in 2 career starts. Hope you enjoyed our Wednesday action. We will see you on Thursday with more Belmont Park Live at 4 Eastern time. Have a great night, everybody.